call to order the Fire District Board meeting of May 20th. Would you all stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you call the roll, please?
Sure. Aldrich.
Here.
Beckman.
Here.
Fox.
Here.
Verplank.
Here.
Phelps.
Here.
Meridian.
Here.
And Miller.
Here.
Okay, could you please silence your cell phone and put them away for the duration of the meeting? Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda?
What are you talking about, right?
Huh? Do we have any additions or
No.
deletions?
Oh, I'll make a motion.
I thought you wanted to delete some of this.
Oh, due to time constraints, can we kind of skip over the incident report?
You bet.
Okay, maybe we could add that on at the end.
Yeah, so
No
for
problem.
We
time.
have time.
Yeah,
All right. Okay.
I'm sorry.
So that was motion to approve, Eric.
With those changes, I make a motion to approve that.
All right. I just thought I had a conversation.
Yeah, we just did.
Okay, do I have a second? Kathy did.
I did. Kathy did.
Okay. Well, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, the approval of the minutes for the April 15th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of April 15th, 2019.
I'll second them.
Motion's been seconded to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, how about the special meeting of May 6th?
I'll make a motion to approve the special meeting of May 6th minutes.
Motion by Beckman and second by Fox to approve the May 6th minutes. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment on agenda items only. Anything, Rick? All right, moving on. Request for payments, account payables. A motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills of $130,166.95.
I'll second.
Motion by Phelps and a second by Meridian to pay the bills. Is there any discussion? I don't know if you discussed it with us.
Nothing to discuss, other.
Well,
we haven't lost that-
what's an oximeter?
That's a pulse oximeter to measure the oxygen level in you.
Okay. Pulse
They're
ox.
pricey.
They haven't lost that Dodge yet, have they?
We have it.
They haven't?
We have it, right.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. In such a short period of time.
Boy, you make one mistake and nobody forgets it.
That's right.
No, we have it. Yeah.
Good.
It's beautiful looking. It's over across the street having the box taken off of it, and we're gonna try to sell that. Chris came in today on his day off to take it in over there. Peter had some comments. Do you want me to say anything on this?
Okay, yeah. Financial report. Right, you gonna do that?
So, can we finish the bill paying?
Oh,
I got the motion in a second, but then I think we just need a roll call.
Roll call.
yeah, can we have a roll
Okay.
call vote, please?
Perfect.
I'm sorry.
All right, Phelps,
Yes.
Meridian,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Verplank,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Beckman.
Yes.
Aldrich.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Stop. Moving my place. Okay, financial report, Greg?
So the current budget as of 5/20/2019, we are $26,000 in excess revenue from interest, inspections, plan review, and cost recovery. There are a few items that are over the budget. I've got them highlighted right here: fire calls, workers' comp insurance, professional services, things like that. So we'll be doing a budget adjustment in June. We'll make the budget adjustment in June at the board meeting to clear up any budgeted line items. We're in good shape currently with the 2019 budget per Peter. I didn't put that in there. So I wanted to share that with you.
So we'll do the budget adjustment
That's
next
in
month.
June. Yes.
Looking at community risk reduction,
I'll go through this quickly. State of Michigan, 38 fire deaths year to date from 2019, 6 since the last meeting. We've become kind of a community hall here, which is a good thing. So I was approached to do a Girl Scout first aid and fire prevention. Kaylee Dornbush handled it, and Laurel Van Auken, I'm sorry, I was drawing a blank on that. Laurel Van Auken handled it, so really it was a great class. And then Chris Bernhardy and I think Kyle handled a Boy Scout first aid class as well. So that's really kind of a neat thing. CPR is scheduled, I think, in June. So those are great things. Also, Friday, we had our elementary school ice cream social to honor the Press the Test program. That really went out. There's some photos here. The state fire marshal was there. There's a superintendent, Michelle Gust, and the firefighters. This was a great program that surpassed our expectations with getting children involved in testing smoke alarms. Fire marshal was there, along with the My Prevention Project Director, Kimberly. There's the fire marshal right there. Mary Whiteford's off to the side there. This is going to go to Washington, D.C. in 2 weeks. That's how big of an event it was. It will put Douglas Elementary, as it should be, on the map. This whole thing is about the students. You can see public safety all right there, members of the police department, Chief Kent, all working together to serve the ice cream which the school provided. There's Officer Tino, the infamous, legendary Officer Tino. That's a great photo right there. For us, it was one of the most thrilling things of my career to see how the program evolved. So I'm boasting about it because of the students participated. And it all came about with that prop downstairs that Chris helped me with, Mike Betts helped me with, so much that the state wants to build several of those. They actually want to take ours to Washington, D.C. with them. That's how big it went. They're even going to try to get ours funded. So big event, great collaboration of efforts on all parts. It was not easy, but perseverance. So I wanted to share that with you. Last, it was added onto the agenda after Friday. Please congratulate Chris Mantles. He is now Fire Instructor 2 level. He passed his test. And that is not an easy test to pass.
No.
So congratulations, Chris.
Thank you.
Elgin County Fire Academy, graduation is up real soon. We'll be testing them out in June. So that's something that's coming up. We hope to have 30 to 36 candidates, depending upon how they test out, graduate. The next item is dry hydrant inspection. I just want to let you know, when we tested the dry hydrants at North Shores, it was a lot different testing because there's a lot more houses involved. This is not an approval, this was merely testing. Third-party consultant was over $3,000, I just want to let you know. We have 2 other dry hydrants in the area that serve 3 houses and 4 houses. We've never charged for that, we test them annually, because we're in and out in an hour. So we turned training into it, this was a lot more extensive, this was almost 3 hours. So, informational, I want to share it with you, okay?
okay, moving on to grant award.
It may not seem like a lot of money, but it was $500. The team wrote a grant, and we got $500 towards the sprinkler trailer to help out with costs.
No, heads up.
Big thank you to Axman. We ordered 7 yards of mulch. He gave us 10, no charge. No obligation, no charge. Lake Vista Super Value will not take any money for skids of bottled water for public safety. So it's for Douglas Police, the sheriff and us. Douglas Police comes over and gets it as needed, and this is probably the 4th time we've done it, and he will not.
Oh, it's nice of them.
Treat anyone, I'm
They
sorry,
give you the cases of these bottles?
a skid.
Whole skid of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Skid. So we notify Douglas PD, they come over and grab what they need. We
There's
store
about
it for
100
them.
cartons out of skid, I think.
Cool.
He's not gonna win any recognition, but you know what, the thing is, you need to know this.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to share that with you. I hope that was fast enough for my comments.
Unfinished business, the budget, staffing and millage.
So we try to have something for take home, okay? And it kind of shows you, this is all Eric. We just give him the numbers, and he takes our garbage and puts it into something very presentable. And we worked on this over the weekend, and even today. A couple of us wrote this introduction from the board on where is the money going to? Why do we want to go 2/10 of a mil? It's basically for paid-on-call staffing to provide them with a stipend. And in our opinion, it's a very modest stipend. It's $4.17 per hour. And that's after hours. Then we have a designated medical crew for staffing. So I wanted to share that with you where of the budget, there's about $115,000 that would show for paid-on-call staffing. And that is on the budget. It would be on this page right here. That's what that's for. Then the rest of the money, which property value increase, the village would allow us to add a personnel on, so we don't have people working 12, 13 days in a row. So we'd be adding another position on that would help out with rentals, help out with inspections and pre-planning, as well as the other demands of the fire department.
So let's, can I ask a couple questions here about this?
Yes, sir.
Paid-on-call firefighters, the paid-on-call stipend is something new, and we are gonna pay, how many people for that?
4. Please keep in mind, right now, we have a Monday and a Thursday paid-on-call stipend.
Mhm.
That's about, depending upon how it's staffed, is roughly about 14,000, that obviously would,
Right.
so it's really like $100,000. So the paid-on-call is just to ensure we have a designated medical crew, firefighters and medical from 4:30 to 6 a.m. in the morning and on weekends. On weekends, there's an additional stipend in there because they have to train. They have to do 3 hours of training, so we added $50 in there for the 3 hours of training. So that's why on the weekend it shows up a little more. But the nuts and bolts is, it's a stipend so that they can be designated at night, so not everyone is working all the time. So, I hope that makes some sense. We really feel, sincerely, it's a very modest stipend, and it's worked out before. As you know, the stipend right now for the people who stay here Monday and Thursdays is $40 they get for that one night. And on the weekends, there is nothing. Nobody gets any money on the weekends, and that's what we want to change.
I guess, so what I'm reading is that this is giving them a stipend where a stipend didn't exist before,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
How is that decreasing the time that the days in a row that they work? How does that come into play?
Well, it's twofold. What it does is designate the crew. Like, for example, when we had the day shift, a lot of them, they would have to come back at night. We want to designate 4 people on a shift to make sure that we balance this out. The other move that we did, which really wasn't budget-wise, I eliminated anybody working 5 days a week. Like John's off on Thursdays. I did that at the beginning of the month. So that John has 1 day off, so he's not on the 12 to 13 days in a row. So what we're hoping is that the load can get picked up by this duty crew that's on, and there's 4 of them. Some nights, like Thursday, there's only 3, or Tuesday, there's only 3 people. So we want to designate 4 for each night. So there's 2 first responders and then 2 firefighters. Obviously, if there's a fire, we all have to chime in. But we never had that before. So it's going to balance out where there's designated crews, and not everyone has to come back. Or if you're short, like if there's a 4-person crew and one says, I want to go to my son's baseball game, they can handle it with 3 occasionally. Instead, we don't have to have somebody that's take on another night. For example, Scott Seymour has filled in for the last 3 weekends because we've been short. Filling in, he's working 2 nights a week. We want to get out of that. Plus, he has a full-time job. So the stipend is an incentive for more people to participate.
In the paid on-call?
Correct, paid on call.
So is it increasing the total number of people who are...
No.
Okay.
No,
It's just
we're
providing more of
hoping-
an incentive.
We're hoping to attract more people with this. For example, I interviewed a guy that works in Hamilton, and I said, would you be interested in being a paid-on-call firefighter and take a duty night? He says, yes, let's talk about it. So I couldn't talk to him because I didn't know if we would get approval for the stipend.
So we'll be creating a bigger pool of potential people to
Correct.
work on call.
That's what I'm hoping, because people don't all do this for money, but
Money helps.
a $50 stipend might make it a little more attractive and then they would still get paid for a call. This isn't a part-time position. This is a stipend for paid on call. If there's 1 call, they get an extra $23. If there's 3 calls, then it's $69.
Okay.
So,
And then also built into this increase is 1 full-time employee, so we
right.
need to help during the day with the
And
load.
that's the part that really would help with people not, like, for example, having Chris come in on his day off, having, I worked 7 hours Friday, my day off again, That's what we're trying to get out of by adding another part-time person.
Full-time.
Full-time, I'm sorry, full-time. So does that help? Is it cleared up a little bit?
Yep. I had a question, and I just forgot it. I'll think of it in a
Okay.
second.
Chris, are you gonna make packets or can you make packets for the township when Stacy and I go? We can.
Yeah, and I believe either
It could be
Chief
staple.
and or I, or both of us are planning on coming
Okay.
to join
Okay.
you and potentially
We'll
bringing
be
that entourage with.
Okay.
Well, we
I
can.
thought you guys were just gonna wear that stuff.
Yes, sir, yes, Dan.
I think the mannequin makes it look better than she does.
Well, I was telling the guys, the pricing on their stuff, and I was gonna put, now really, the guy behind there, it's priceless.
Priceless.
They didn't like that so much.
I do remember. So we talked maybe a meeting or two ago around compensation for existing employees and wondering, are we competitive with market rates? Do we have an answer to that? And
That's a good question. And the answer is no, we're not competitive. you can go to one part of the United States and hire a paramedic and a firefighter for $36,000 a year. They'll start in Holland at $62,000 a year. So, the problem you have here is the cost of living.
Right.
There's so much money. You're gonna have to pay more people. You're not gonna get anybody here for $40,000 a year. So that's a problem we're running into. And that was one of the things Jane brought up. She says, Greg, you gotta be competitive. That's why the board allowed us to jump some of these people up. John went from 34 to 36, to 36 to 40. July 1st, John goes from 40 to 45.
So we are making some of those adjustments
Yes.
within the existing budget?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, this is unusual because, you know, the school system has the same problem, teachers,
Sure.
but they don't have to live here,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, they don't have
Right.
to.
They can't afford to
answer
live
calls.
here, but most of them live in Holland or somewhere.
And there's not
that's
one,
expensive.
you know, you take Douglas PD as an illustration, they're a union, okay? Not one of them lives,
Right.
In Douglas.
you know, not one of them lives here. They're all in Allegan where houses are 1/3 the price. And we've been fighting this, you know, for years. So I hate to keep saying that. The fact is, what's a house in Saugatuck? 400 grand. It's just a simple fact, 400 grand. John can't even buy a,
There isn't one.
Not one you'd wanna live in.
Right.
There isn't even one you would
Yeah,
want to
that's
live in.
true.
I'm sorry, Dan.
There's a sentence in this that
Is it wrong?
somehow incomplete.
That could be because,
It's been a moving target.
Sixth line from the bottom line. The district board pursues to maintain the, not sure what it's supposed to be.
I know what they're trying to say, but then
The
pursue's not the right word.
Maybe aims.
the STF board pursues to maintain the high level?
Yeah, aims is a better word.
Aims, yeah.
Aims to maintain, is that what it is?
Or Saugatuck Board,
Oh,
apostrophe S,
We had
goal
endeavors.
is to maintain.
We changed it to Endeavor, and then,
Well, but yeah, this was a,
yeah.
Peter didn't like mine, he
Endeavors
put
to
that up.
maintain.
The Saugatuck Township Fire Board's belonging to goal is to maintain a high level of public safety for the benefit of our residents.
So board apostrophe S, okay, goal is to maintain.
Is that better?
Happy with that?
Makes sense?
Does it make sense?
No, I'm glad, because I want to, makes sense. We kept changing that, Dan. Should've just asked you first.
It didn't get changed, because I took pursuit
Did you have endeavor in there?
I think I had Endeavors in maintain.
Well, the
Mine
other
doesn't have
thing
it,
is,
mine doesn't have that in there.
Yes, it's up here.
Doesn't matter
what the problem is this right here.
Pursues?
Yeah.
Just the pursues too.
I had in STFD's pursuit to maintain, and Peter didn't, he crossed that out.
Peter should be crossing.
So I'm gonna change it to, okay, we can do that.
We'll fix
If you leave your binders here, we'll correct them and get them to you. I'm
it.
gonna
Should this
blo-
go in the past?
I think this whole thing should go on
Okay.
there.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't have to bind it,
by
but
Friday,
It-
yeah. Is that? Okay.
we have this all electronically.
Yeah, yeah.
Just changing one
I'm
word.
gonna
Yeah,
blame
like
Eric, because he's in
email
the
it
back of
to-
the room.
And if you want, we could have like Staples or some, or FedEx make those binders with the springy things on them, or whatever, yeah. If you'd like, then we could do one for each municipality, I mean, that's, we can get that done in the next.
I just
month.
staple them that way, you're not open to
Yeah, I don't
everybody saying
think
how
our
much.
place
Yeah, why
does
you
all
say-
that.
You got it.
exactly, Staples, all good.
We can do that.
I mean, a couple of years ago, we gave them a full,
Whole,
Well, we were
Yeah,
gonna
whole
do that
booklet.
this year too, but we.
no, I think, you know, now just,
Oh, the review.
Right, yeah.
yeah.
We didn't get to the.
But no, thank you. Anything else that you see?
I have a question on the stats. So it says there's been an 82% increase in call volume for total calls. Does that include the 29% increase and the 408% increase? Is that part of the 82%?
Eric?
So,
On that slide.
the 82%
Uh-huh.
increase in total calls, we roughly divided all our calls up. There's 9 total of inverse categories. So we just took the 2 major ones, fire and EMS, and then we do 7 other categories under other calls, and that's where we have seen the 82% increase in total calls since 2004.
So those medical calls are part of, they're included in total calls, right?
Nope.
No,
Nope.
they're not?
No, medical calls, they're under EMS, so they have its own category in this chart.
It's confusing because there's all these categories. That's why years ago, it looked like it was either fire or medical.
But
Oh, no.
what he's asking is the 29% in there twice. And so if you follow the EMS column, there's 29% increase in that column.
Wait a minute, yeah, sorry, I was on the other calls.
So I think just to clarify, I would put
Yeah,
the
you're
word
absolutely right, 82%, that's
total.
all.
Oh,
the- all
and
nine
then maybe,
categories.
for example, 29% medical calls and so on, because it is a little confusing.
Yeah, I was thinking,
Or simply say not including medical calls or something.
It doesn't.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
you call it out.
I would say including the 29% increase.
So, Aaron, so there's been an 82% increase in calling volume for total calls, including,
a 29%.
you bet.
Or indent those bullet points to indent them over so it looks like it's part of the 82%. They're just,
Okay, but by adding including, that would, okay, you got it. That makes sense. Do that.
And then the village history is in your packet.
Yeah, this is something that Eric talked about as well. It shows that. I should put that in, that's not in the binder, it's not in the binder.
Yeah, it should be in the binder.
It's in mine, but we had it electronically. John,
Oh, there.
you know, one-
make a bunch of these, will you, please?
It should be in their board packet.
Yeah, but not
Oh,
everything.
not everybody has one, sorry.
Just make some of these and hole punch them, we can just have them put them in the binder.
This is one extra one you can have for too.
So the village history is up on the screen.
But Greg will be glad to come to your meeting and help you explain this to your board.
Okay. I think we're gonna be fine. If you wanna come, we'd love it, but.
I'll be there just in case there's a
Where
question.
where was it? I saw somewhere where you had broken down, you know, this equates basically to $40 a year for a $400,000 house. That's somewhere.
Oh, I had an email I sent out to Peter, I calculated it, talked to Chris, calculated, yep, and then I sent it to Peter, it was just an email I sent to him, and I like that, I like to know what it costs, because 2 cents doesn't mean anything to me, so I know if I have a $400,000 house, which I don't, $200,000 taxable value, I'll pay $440, I'll pay $40.
I think that's helpful context.
So should I just kind of have something as an example?
Yeah, well, they do that on a lot of villages, it's like $100,000 house gonna cost you
Would
going
you
out.
like that added in on your, from the board summary?
Yeah.
I think that would be,
And that is the average house.
Yeah, it would, and I suppose we could do it on all, you know, do a $200,000 house and a 400, or 300 and a 400, just to give the people in those categories their number. It wouldn't be that much harder to do the math,
thanks.
make it simple for them.
Well, we should do it by taxable value.
Right, it's either 20, 30, or $40 increase based on the SEV of,
The people approving it are council members, and we're not in the million-dollar homes.
no.
What do you think?
So what do you want?
I shouldn't say that, there are some.
You want it in $100,000 and $200,000 taxable value, is that what you want?
There's
And you
that-
said a mill of 63,000? Is that where?
A mill is 65,000.
65,000.
2 mills would then be the 130,000.
Then, we also had this brainchild of taking this with us, this display behind us, to show people what it costs.
Can I go up there?
Sure. To show people what it costs to dress the firemen.
Jane kind of brought this up. I had seen this other places, and then she kind of took it other places. For example, you've got this right here, $2,800. We used to buy turnout gear in Scott States for probably $1,000. But now this is the Armani of fire turnout gear, because that's what you need now, okay? Higher temperatures, this is a higher rated temperature suit. So, hood, cancer preventive hood, $120, it used to be $30. Helmets, no big deal, this is like $270 for a helmet. Boots, rubber boots used to be $100, $290. The standard of the radio industry, $500, $6,500 for one radio. Okay? The gas companies bailed on us years ago. We now test. We have the liability of gas testing for carbon monoxide. That's all on us. Each one of these meters is $2,500. We have 5. The docking station to calibrate those was almost $5,000. Okay? Pagers used to be $300-400. Now we're looking at $745 per pager. SCBA, when I came on board, they were $3,000, $6,700. Gives you an idea what we're talking about here. 10 years ago, 19 years ago, when I joined, we never talked about ballistic protection. These are now almost $1,000. We have 9 of them. That's what we're running into. Stuff we never had before. We get calls that are just out there. For example, yesterday there was a call, are you going to sandbag our building?
No,
And
they wanted us to sandbag the Lucy Street boat launch because the water was coming into the road.
Right.
That, to be specific.
Because nobody else will. And we turned it down. We did it once before, we will not do it again.
It's not your job.
It's public works. Yeah, you put up columns just like they did in the
But
state.
for
and
some
you don't
reason,
drive on it.
they call us. They call us all the time for everything.
And I think what a lot of people don't understand, Craig, you can correct me if you're wrong, but this equipment's like computers. You buy one, and a couple of years down the road, they're useless.
Right.
I mean, when you talk about the scuba thing, you had, the old ones were heavier than, these things are lightweight, right?
Carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber.
And that's, Eric, you're exactly right. The fire service has had to embrace technology, okay? This is nothing inside this but a computer, a very expensive computer. Probably most of this is liability. This is such an essential piece of gear, so is this. This whole radio, people get killed for one reason, this. Burns before anything. What did this board do? They paid more money for this. $35. What would you do? You did it. You paid more money for it. So our odds are less chance we're going to lose somebody inside the building. This mic is $400. That's what we're dealing with nowadays, embracing technology. When the county went with the 800 megahertz radio system, it was one of the smartest things the county did. And the county bought these for us, taxpayers bought them. But now, if we need another one, we have to buy it. We need a mobile for one of the trucks. That's $4,500 plus to install it. That's what we're running into. All this computerized stuff costs money and it has a lifespan like anything, 10 years. 10 years, 10 years. This is 5 years, right here. That's what you run into.
Couldn't you just make a list of that stuff? And
Got it.
the value of it? I mean, instead of you guys dragging this stuff from place to place.
We
There's
have
a
a-
lot of stuff.
Right, I'm trying to write so fast.
Yeah.
If we had a little one pager, it'd be
You see that?
that'd be a nice handout that night.
We'll send
Just
it,
show people.
we have it.
You want that right in the packet, say how
Yeah.
much those cost?
And the
And the
lifespan of
okay.
it.
You know, Jake gave us this idea, and then I ran it across the crew, and then Erin Wilkinson, she went to about 15 stores to try to get one of these. Put it on.
I think if you had whatever, little pictures of those with the two cost levels, what it used to be, what it is, or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
as in a list.
Yeah, maybe
I think you're
photos.
better off than having a road show, which looks, I don't know, to me, it looks like you're trying too hard.
Okay.
I don't need, if I should be able, as a council person or whatever, to see the list and go, oh my God, this stuff's expensive, and it's getting way more expensive, point made,
I
and
agree
it's
with
done.
that. This is
Yeah.
not necessary.
That's what we wanted,
But I love
we wanted you to see this and see what you wanted to do. Another example is, you know, Scott was on the board in 2008, one of the engines we built downstairs was $325,000. It's now $600,000.
I think this is, as a display, I think it's very helpful for open houses.
Open house.
Community stuff or whatever, that's terrific, and and the public should see it, and see it that way.
Yeah, I think that'd be great, the way it is, roped off
You bet.
for the open house,
Mhm.
and just what you're buying for your, what you're getting for your tax
Greg,
dollars.
another thing you mentioned, I'm wondering if there isn't, do we have a published list of the stuff the department is not involved in servicing, to include sandbagging or cats and trees, I don't know, whatever the hell it is? I think having a published list would at least, and having some, has some level of clarity on it, at least says, no, that's outside, we don't do that. I mean, it doesn't sound like then that somebody on the other end of the phone is just making a call of the moment. You say, no, there are certain things we're not allowed by our charter, whatever, to do. And then list.
We don't have a list, Dan. Let me see what I can do with that. It just seems like somebody calls 911 to use up an excuse that they need help with something, and it's not an emergency. 911 has to dispatch somebody. They can't filter it out and say, well, they don't want the liability. They want us to refuse that. So that's why there seems to be a lot of activity. I mean, how many fire departments get a call that, hey, I want you to get my dead goose out of the pond? We do. I want you to get my geese that are frozen in the pond out 7 times. We do.
And then I want you to throw in somebody else's dump.
And then throw it in a dumpster down the street at M89 in Shell. We do. And I can't just blast that out to the public, because I don't want to make anybody look bad as far as that. But it does get frustrating. The sandbagging was something we did, and I learned my lesson, and I won't do it again.
Yeah, in extreme emergencies maybe, but something like
The
now.
only way we can do it is if it's ordered by EOC or a manager, a city manager orders it. Then what we do is say, okay, here's the bill.
Yeah. What's EOC?
Huh?
What is EOC?
Emergency Office Center. It's Scott Corbin, he's the Emergency Office Center.
It comes out of Alex.
Yeah. He's in charge of all that. I had a call today, while we're on the subject, from the lead instructor for the kids' yacht club, Saugatuck Yacht Sailing Club. He said, I'm worried about stray current in the water, what are you gonna do about it?
On Sagatuck Yacht Club?
Yep.
That's just tell them to go to church for that.
No, now I'm
It's
pissed off.
It's Doug, he lives on Park Street, his name is, he just called me. Right before the
Electrical
board
current?
meeting. What?
Electrical current?
Yep.
We've asked our yacht club, I'm a member of the Sagatuck Yacht Club, to look into, you can buy these current things, you put in the water, they're not that expensive.
Correct.
And they've been putting it off, and I've been up to here with them, and now they're calling the fire
He
department?
just called me and says, I wanna know what is gonna be done about possibility of stray current in Kalamazoo Lake for the sailing club. We have to start in 2 or 3 weeks, and I said, I'll reach out to the electrical inspectors. I mean, I was down.
That's not the fire department's job.
This is, believe me, I know, this is the,
Now you got me worked up, so.
Yeah, because we're
Turn it
doing
red.
that at
I'm pissed off
Point
about it.
Pleasant, we're investing in that current thing, whatever you put in the water, because.
oh, it's a big, it's a
Not
big
Not
deal.
us,
You
not
can
us.
have one boat wired wrong,
Yes.
electric death shock syndrome is one of the biggest problems with people diving in a marina and
Right.
checking their boat or cleaning it. I lived in Clearwater in a docominium, and the guy next to us, diver got killed because the boat was wired wrong.
Yeah.
This was brought up, I'll just give you a backstory about the Sagatuck Yacht Club. This was brought up by my brother, who worked for the DeVos family, that all their docks were always checked. I mean, they got a lot of liability over their heads.
Right.
You know, you got a lot of money, you cover your rear end. These meters that they have are not that expensive. I think you can get them for a couple $100.
A fluke is $400 to $600. We got one for Singapore.
Singapore, exactly.
Right.
So we've talked about getting one at our yacht club, and that's why I'm a little pissed off that they should have bought it 3 years ago, and now they're calling them today. It should be done. Every public place on the river should have.
Right.
So I'm surprised
Check
the
it.
insurance companies aren't all over that.
Yes,
Just look at Tower Marine.
yeah.
There's 1 hour cable running in metal raceways on the dock, and the splices are in those raceways, and they're virtually underwater.
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
We need to get back to this,
Yeah.
we've got 15 more minutes, and there's some funding approvals that we need to do. So we can continue this discussion later if you want, but.
So this will be in the board packet, okay?
Okay.
Okay, we need to get on to new business funding approval for painting and building exteriors. Greg, do you want to explain?
Yep, basically, the building's never been painted. And we've had this on the list for 3 years, and other reasons we took it off the list because we needed the money for other things. This is a great price that Chris got. I think the cheapest price I got was almost $10,000. This is a local painter. I have no knowledge of what he can or can't do. I told Chris I wanted 2 coats of paint, and he revised this, so this is where we're at. We did have it in the capital improvement plan. We're hoping and requesting your approval.
I'll make a motion to authorize the fire staff to have the exterior of the main barn and the back barn painted with 2 coats of paint, not to exceed $8,250.
Second.
Sorry, discussion?
What's built in, so this is a lot lower than other quotes?
Not by much, I mean, it's.
Yeah, not by much.
Somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 cheaper.
It's pretty reasonable. We're having the
Yeah.
butler already painted right now. It's a lot more than what this is.
This is what it cost to paint my house the last time.
That's what makes me a little nervous.
And it includes the paint, the hoist rental, the masking of everything, power washing and prepping of the surfaces before they start and.
That's real reasonable.
Well, yeah, no, it is.
Is there any kind of warranty built in, like if it starts to peel or flake
Good
or
afternoon.
something?
Not written in the estimate anyway, but we can look into that. I don't know that any of the bidders actually had a direct warranty built into their quotes, but we can certainly ask what the longevity is.
Do you have any references from these people?
Yeah,
Okay.
they actually did the Napa last year. as well too, is.
They're local?
That's not good, happens.
This is a roll call vote?
Yep. Oh, you waiting for it? Phelps.
Yes.
Hack.
Yes.
Aldrich.
Yes.
Beckman.
Yes.
Verplank.
Yes.
Meridian.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Okay, now we have another new problem here is cost recovery for a Douglas frequent caller.
Background on this, we've had this situation for, about a year and a half, and we have tried everything to remedy this situation, and nothing seems to work. Person, I'll keep names out of it, addresses out of it. It just seems to be, we're called for everything, and we're 2 more calls over the weekend. So there's an alcohol problem.
What are you being called for, though? Fires or?
No.
Can't get up off the floor, need help getting
Oh,
up.
medical.
EMS, all up and down.
And we're said, call the police. Well, they can't, they can pick them up and they're glad to, and they do, but, you know, what happens if you walk away and she hurt herself? So then we get called out. We've been called for, oh, Dan, don't kill me for this one. I lost my glasses.
I'm gonna remember that, so when I lose my glasses, I know who to call.
You can find the 911 dial.
Or my cell phone,
I
happens to
need
me all
this
the time.
medical alert thing that you,
Oh,
you know,
we
whatever.
have more,
It's
that's what
like
we
the
get.
buzzer.
We have more of those, I'm locked out of the house.
Yeah.
Medical alert.
Yeah, she has one.
Oh,
So
my
it's
God.
gotten to a point where, we figure we better bring it to your attention. We talked about this, there was some discussion, Chief, why don't you just bill her? Here's what I wanna make sure everybody understands. I'm okay with billing her as long as you are okay with billing her. What I don't wanna have happen is, she falls and gets hurt, and now she doesn't wanna call us because she's scared she's gonna get a bill from us. This is, we go through some
That is-
ebbs and flows where some people are ill, and you have a lot more calls, but it usually stops after 6 weeks or 2 months. We've been through this before, we reported her to the state twice.
She's at 16 already this year.
That's ridiculous. And alcohol's involved, that's more ridiculous.
We figured we were gonna reach out to Douglas and say, hey, well, Douglas knows about it, because the police are going there, so not only you take an ambulance out of service, you take the fire department crew out of service, and the police out of service. This just doesn't cost $150 for a duty crew for fire. You just took a $900 ambulance ride out of service, and then you call them off.
Have we sent any kind of quote-unquote threatening letter?
No,
That you will be charged
Yes.
for non-emergencies moving forward?
we can't, that's why I wanted to bring it to you and find out what
I
course
think
of
we
action.
we need a policy. I mean, the department needs a board-authorized policy. Based on whatever, however we wanna construct the policy, but it should be, you gotta be careful with this thing,
Right.
because you're right. I mean, you
See-
you get heavy-handed with it, and all of a sudden she doesn't call, croaks, and now you got, you
And
know,
the family's
$10 million lawsuit or something
Right.
stupid.
Well, that's the other thing, you know, I think we probably, I hate to call the lawyer, but we gotta cover our rear ends. But I think we need to send some kind of letter warning, saying, hey, we cannot, you've got 15 calls, 16 calls year to date, this is costing us so much. And basically tell her, if
Right.
we can continue to come,
And that you're
we
welcome
will
to call for
start,
legitimate
Yeah.
medical reasons, but not
we will start
glasses.
to bill you per
Mhm.
call, and I put a big number on it.
Yeah.
How about this, would the board consider, number one, discussing this with the attorney? I agree with Dan, we should jointly with the lawyer draft some policy. But I did not feel comfortable billing this person on this medical until I talked to you guys.
It sounds to me like, you know, obviously there's an alcohol problem, and you said her, so I'm gonna say, her family needs to be aware of it, but we're not counselors here. you know, we'd love to get someone involved and, but I think we need to cover our rear ends as a fire department.
And I think it's not unreasonable to have a policy that says within a given time period, a month, or a month is easy, that, you know, more than X number of calls where no perceived need exists, and the calls start being charged at $500 a throw. I mean, use the numbers you're saying, the ambulance, the fire crew, the police, whatever, use that as backup. I don't think it should be overly burdensome, but it should be a number that causes somebody to think.
It's gotta hurt.
Yeah, it's gotta hurt, right, it can't be $15.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
This
That's
is
two
one
on Sunday.
person, all
Yep.
of that?
There's two Sunday.
Two on Sunday.
You were DO Sunday, you had two?
Yeah, I think we had.
Two within a couple hours.
We used to have one around here too.
Well, and the one, in fairness, the one was police initiated that really probably didn't need to be, but he was covering his butt in the case that he asked for us when he was simply going there to do a welfare check, when he probably could have waited till he got there and figured out he didn't need us. I can, if you'd like to, I can ask at medical control next week and see if anybody else has similar policies in their departments, and then maybe it might not hurt to get medical control sign off on this as well too, as a county agency, and not that we have to have it, but for that liability reason, getting, at least having it go across their meeting table.
Why don't you take the case of medical control,
Yep.
ask them what they would advise to do in this situation,
Okay.
because we can't continue
Yep.
like this, and, you know, we have a duty to act.
Yep,
Where do we draw the line between
right,
taking those people out of service against a true emergency?
sure.
So,
I don't think you can draw that number of calls, because if that last call over the limit's the one that kills the person, that's not good.
Right.
I think it has to
No,
be
this is
drawn
a-
on medical
See the dilemma?
emergency or other kinds of policy statements.
I
you know,
have a
rather
feeling
than-
our lawyer, if he's involved with this at all.
And the county should have an
has
idea,
seen this
too.
before. There's gotta be a criteria.
Right.
We just wanna follow the right criteria.
What's the likelihood if you do move forward with billing that you'd actually get recovery?
I think what is it, John's going away. I would say, very unlikely, I think what'll happen is the calls will stop. You know, another reason we have a spike in medical calls is the trend now is everybody's got a button, which is a good thing. People live at home, they live independently with chronic diseases. That's gonna be more calls. So that's a good thing. But this,
This is an
in
abuse.
my view, my opinion only, is misuse of the system. I have people that 2 o'clock in the morning are going to pick up somebody off the floor. When they have to go to work at 7 the next morning, you know, you try to go to sleep after you just responded to a call, because you have to focus. And then all you're used to pick them up off the floor. Yes,
Not to mention, most of the times they come in as unknown medical alarms, so we have no clue what we're going into. This could be a legit medical call, we get there and...
and that's a priority
that's it.
too.
Yeah, so that's...
That's like a siren.
I just searched excessive 911 calls costs, and it just keeps going and going and going. I mean, we're not the first, and some of the dates, like 2015 in Los Angeles coming up with fines for this stuff, so there's a lot of learning out there.
Yeah, right there, this one right here, calls are not intended to be a source of revenue, but rather a preventative measure to discourage repeat non-emergency EMS
Proposed
calls.
ordinance to fine nonprofits with excessive calls.
So we're not the only ones running into that.
And these are all fairly old, I mean, 2010.
Okay, we have to set a date for a public hearing. We can finish this discussion later too. So we need to set the date for the fiscal year budget approval public hearing at our June meeting. So if somebody would make a motion to approve,
I'll make a motion that we set the date for our 2019 budget approval public hearing to be at the June meeting, which is June 17th of 2019.
thank you. Second, please.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? This is,
I won't be there, and
We
I
have
bet
to
Scott
do
won't be
this.
there.
No, I'm gonna be, I'll be in Florida. I have to be down for a closing.
okay, well,
But you'll have a quorum.
we'll have a quorum.
So we'll present in Douglas on the June 3rd meeting or whatever it is, and you'll present in Saugatuck the budget then?
Yeah.
And we're doing it the first week in June.
Okay,
June
so
5.
we should be all set for that.
Yeah,
meeting.
so,
Just to be safe, could you call it the 2019-2020 fiscal year in your
Yeah.
motion? Only because I think it kind of crosses years.
it is.
And that way we're not approving last year's
Should I
budget.
say it again?
I can just, as long as you're good with that, I'll change
Yeah, I'm
it
good
here.
with it.
Okay, we do have a quorum for that meeting, you'll be here on Tuesday. Stacy, you'll be here. Okay, yeah, we have a quorum. All right, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Opposed? Okay, so and then the last thing on our agenda is, to approve request to send the 2019 budget proposal to the Saugatuck City, Douglas City, and Saugatuck Township for their respective approvals.
After I revise it.
Okay, and we'll make sure everybody has the number of copies they need for their.
Sounds good.
All right,
I'll make a motion to send the budget proposals to the various municipalities.
we have a motion by Beckman and a second by Fox to send this budget to the municipalities that are part of the Saugatuck Township Fire District. This is a roll call vote.
Beckman?
Yes.
Fox?
Yes.
Aldridge?
Yes.
Sirfling?
Yes.
Phelps?
Yes.
Murray and
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Okay, now we can go back to things if you want to. I just wanted to get those in before Kathy had to go. Okay. All right, so we decided the lady is kind of expensive. And the only thing she really has to pay her bill in is alcohol.
I saw that second call Sunday, and I said to Nick, I said, they need to do something about her, because she's calling too much.
And you know, David Blatt, the epitome of compassion, you know, I said, David, you know, what do you see? He said, oh, we gotta go, and that was, you know, beginning of the year, and then it continued to happen. I said, you know, are we helping her, or are we enabling her? And David finally said, we're enabling her.
How old is she?
67, 68?
Come on, John, you should know her birthday by now, you've been there enough.
Eric sent this to me over the weekend.
It's good, I like that.
This is the sort of thing, I mean, we work on this stuff over the weekend. And, you know, and then I sent a text to Eric when the pager went off, I go, change that number from 49 to 50, and Eric says, that's what I was just thinking. And then it went to 51.
Maybe you guys are too nice to her when you're there.
Yeah.
Does she ever go to the hospital,
She
or?
live alone?
There's times we've made her go.
Yeah.
Oh, but she lives alone, is that the problem?
Yeah. And
Remember,
her
it's just
sister's
a woman.
aware and has been here and tried to help her. She went to Grace of Douglas for a while, but then she ends up back home and starts doing this again, so.
And when you file a 3200 form, you're telling the state this person's incapable of living alone. It's a serious matter. Police did it, we did 2 of them, and finally DHS said, there's nothing we're gonna do about this. Don't do the form again.
Oh.
She knows how to answer the questions correctly and how to act appropriately, so where she doesn't have to go to the hospital.
God, is she really?
She knows the system by now.
That's why it's gonna be, it'll be interesting to hear what the lawyers say, because what standard you apply to what's excessive and what, I mean, that's gonna be tough.
The last 2 times I've been there, the cops have found her stash of liquor and dumped it out.
Yeah.
They'll take her vodka bottle from under the sink and pour it out, so she doesn't, at least doesn't have anything to drink.
She probably got another one stashed
She
somewhere.
probably does, yeah.
That's what they do.
Oh, yeah. They should do a search.
All right, Louise, I have another meeting.
All right.
Okay, thanks, Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy, see you later.
My daughter-in-law, my ex-daughter-in-law, worked for Henry Ford Hospital in one of their clinics, and some of those people called 911 to take them to the hospital for their appointments. So it's all over the place.
Do you allow, people to ride the fire trucks during parades anymore? I can't,
We just don't, we don't like them riding on top.
like if I want my grandson, that could,
Seated position, yeah. Matter of fact, we were encouraged to do that. I ran it across the insurance company when I started as chief, like putting somebody in the aerial bucket, we've done that before. They said, yeah, no problem, as long as they follow, they wear a harness, they follow protocol.
if he wants to ride, if he can.
We get that,
Parade.
we have that a lot,
The trucks are a lot taller than they used to be,
yeah.
you know?
And we used to do it all the time, you used to have to duck going underneath cables and stuff, and,
Yeah.
remember that? We did that all the time, but they,
I think my boys rode on one of the pumper trucks
Yep.
on the back.
So like
back-
we do
back
that,
in
you
the
think, or
10, 15
as
years ago.
Memorial Day and
it would be
Denver?
a seated position.
Okay,
Our kids
so
always had
come to
hoses
you?
in the back.
Yeah,
Okay.
my kids-
Seated
my kids-
position. Best if there's a couple of them to let us know, so, you know, we can make sure there's seats for them, because sometimes we have extra seats and people just fill up the truck and that. Sometimes we don't have enough seats for families,
Okay.
so.
But he'll walk a little taller after he rides on the fire truck.
We think that, that's great. I wasn't sure of the posture of the insurance company. I said, as long as you're aware of it, and you're okay with it, yep. She said, just don't let them drive it.
Unless they have their CDL, all right?
It might be better than some of our people, you never know.
Okay, is there anything else we want to go back to? I'm sorry.
I had one thing I breezed over real fast, I think is worth mentioning, and just take a short, I had a phone call on May 13th from Barbara Miller. She called the fire department, looking for some advice on how to get a ride and this and that. She talked to John Miles. She called me and she says the best customer service she's ever had in her lifetime. She went on for several minutes about John and him being so helpful with how to solve a transport issue. Nice job.
I was gonna suggest maybe before, we involve a lawyer who's charging whatever his hourly rate is, with an internet search or whatever, we might be able to go through and at least see what the lay of the land is and what other people have tried and whatever, so that he doesn't do that.
Do the same
Charge
thing,
you
yeah.
$600 an
But
hour.
that'd be a
like
wonder
charge.
about that.
Good idea.
And Chris going through medical
Control.
too.
And I can reach
Yeah.
out to South Haven and see what they do and reach out to Holland.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, both of
Before-
which must have the problem,
And I-
bigger population.
There was a brief discussion at the last MCA meeting about another department having issues with the Department of Health and Human Services not helping them in a similar situation where they're running a frequent flyer and where you file that DHS 3200 form. That's the point of the state, is to step in and help these people and either get a live-in care aid or get them moved to a facility where they get the help they need. And the DHS is just, I don't know if they're understaffed in Allegan County or what the issue is, but I think we're not the only ones seeing this issue where we're not getting help from the agency that's supposed to help us.
Supposed to help,
So,
yeah.
But
I
maybe-
don't see how they get to say, stop sending these in.
Right, no.
On what basis?
Yeah.
Well,
That's none of their business.
No.
Keep
No.
sending, I
Keep
send them in
sending.
even if they keep
Yeah.
turning them
Oh, yeah.
wrong.
Right, but it doesn't, but they still refuse to help the person is the bad part,
Right.
so.
But we are covered and we tried.
Yep.
And that's the important thing.
But I think taking this with you, this is one of the worst I've ever seen. I mean, and especially when you're looking for her glasses, or she locked herself out of the house and can't remember the code to get in.
And that is the effectiveness of raw data. That shows
This
you,
is-
because you've got to quantitate things. And Eric's ability to extract that with the new program,
And this is not getting better, it's getting worse.
Mhm.
When, 2 a day, come on.
And I was gonna say, if it ends up being the kind of thing where you can't get the county, that's a county resource, right? If they don't,
Well,
State.
then.
state actually,
well,
I think, I'm sorry.
the state.
It is state.
Well, then, as a board, we can write letters to the state and write letters to representatives and all the rest of it. I mean, it's crazy to me that that's allowed. If it's their responsibility to act on these things, they don't get to say, they should not get to say, the right to say, we're not gonna act on these
Yeah.
things. That's bullshit.
That's your job, do it.
Do you wanna run through the incident reports now?
We're up 5%, so you know.
You
You
know-
know what I mean, yeah, about 5%, nothing dramatic, unless you want me to.
No, that's fine, but maybe this, the fatal fires in Michigan, maybe if we had a comparison number to last year, that might be interesting to know how many more there are this year than last year, if it's a growing number or not.
So do it same month based on 2018?
Yeah.
I can get those stats, like the stat sheet, and just have it put in the packet if you want to.
Yeah, that might be an interesting,
What is the wildland extrication turnout gear different than structural?
It's lighter, you don't have to wear turnout gear inside, that, you can just wear this stuff.
Basically, that gear is not rated for house fire temperatures.
Rated for structural firefighting.
Year-to-date, there were 58 fatal fires in 2018 and 48 in 2017, so we're at 38, so we're running behind.
20%.
Yeah, which is good.
I guess my question is, when do you know when to put what on?
Basically, car accident, we can wear that, brush fire, like a woods fire, that's what we wear that for, just to ease on
That's
guys.
heavy.
Strain on your body.
Fatigue.
It's your turnout gear light,
Yeah.
so to speak.
When do you determine, make the determination on the ballistic vest? On what basis?
Good question. Unknown welfare check, unknown, number one, suicides. And we probably run 20 of those a month.
Just look at the incident from Wisconsin last week.
Yeah.
Yep, it's in.
One of the medical call, a paramedic getting out, getting shot.
One of the primary reasons, Dan, we went with this is in 2013, the police charged us with evacuation in the hot zone of the whole school. Both schools. We had nothing. So we had to fund this. I can't remember how we did this years ago, funded this.
Mm-hmm.
But they were putting us, we have to get the kids out, put them behind a truck. And I said, nobody's going in the hot zone without a vest. So the day shift, we bought 5, and then we have 4 generic ones for duty crew at night. So we don't have them for everybody.
I think I just saw the city of Detroit are requiring their people to wear them all the time.
A lot of fire departments are doing it. Because we're the ones, the police will be inside, and we're the ones that are gonna be outside in the hot zone, so. But any unknown medical or suicide situation or domestics, big time.
Or fights.
And we got one that, we had to get one, because you're bending over and they stab you in the back, so we had to get one that the knife wouldn't penetrate. But that is made in Michigan, and it's an excellent value, and it's an excellent vest. I'd almost wear it every day, but the perception changes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wearing it for about a month, and I think people were awkward about it, so I stopped.
but John mentioned bar fights too, that's. you
And what
never
the
know.
hell are they calling the fire department for a bar fight, you know?
We got
I
bar tables.
know they do, but, yeah.
We were on the street on a whole
Makes sense.
riot.
Medical treatment.
A guy got stabbed, and we all had to put vests on, because they called us. The police wanted help. Somebody got stabbed, and they couldn't find the person who had the knife. About 50 people outside. That was fun.
That
Like 3 or 4
recently?
different patients spread out across 2 blocks.
Yeah.
It was kind of a zoo.
Was that recently?
Last year?
2 summers ago, maybe?
2 summers ago.
2 summers ago.
Yeah, I don't think it was last year, it was 2 years ago.
That's the type of thing that happens now. And then the other thing is, when with all the narcotics that are going on, when you bring them out of that, sometimes they come out of that very violent, and they start stabbing and God knows what, so.
So is there anything else on the agenda we didn't cover? This has been kind of moving around.
We did fine. We got it done.
Okay, are there any public comments? Fire board comments? Anybody, Aaron?
I've been seeing emails about boats. Anything we need to talk about with that?
I think it would be premature for us to start talking about the boat. Right now, the city and the complainant are in negotiations, and we've hired a riparian rights expert. So I think we don't really have anything to talk about yet. When the city decides what they're gonna do, then I think then it's time for us to decide what we're gonna do.
Okay.
Okay, does that answer your question? Scott?
I got nothing.
Really? Too bad. Stacy? Nope. Eric? Pam?